it was then that it dawned on me that something was wrong. Up until then, I was just like pushing it. I was dragging. I thought, oh man, I'm just tired today. But no, there was something drastically wrong. And it hit me at that time. And I felt depressed, to be honest. I felt this sense of emptiness. And it's not a joke. Like that sense of emptiness, it's real. It's real. And I began to trace my steps back to really see what was going on. Metaphorically speaking, I entered my room and it was full of smoke. The smoke, I had been breathing and working in that smoke for months without realizing. And when I finally saw it, I was already choking. This is your host, Dyutama, but you can call me DJ. And I love to inspire food photographers to dream. I spent 15 years as an architect studying buildings and constructing hospitals before taking the biggest leap of faith of my life, which was setting up a food styling and food photography business right from scratch. If you're a dreamer like me, wanting to start a new photography business or grow your existing food photography business, jump right into a world where I share practical, actionable strategies to improve your photography skills, to work with clients, make more money, all with a fearless mindset. This is the My Food Lens podcast, and we take you one step closer to your dreams. So let's go. The moment we hear the word burnout, if we have never been in it, we just assume it's not for us. We think, we love what we do. How can we ever feel burnt out or tired doing what we love? Burnout is for those who run businesses. It's not for creatives, who just pursue photography or blogging for a hobby. We are passionate, and passion does not burn out. You might feel so if you have never been in it, but at some point or the other, burnout creeps. I'm using the word creeps into our creative lives. And the problem with burnout is that it is the devil. I feel like it's like smoke. You don't see it at first, but something just doesn't feel right. And then you begin to feel uncomfortable and it slowly begins to spread. And by the time you realize, you are in the thick of it and it's probably already choking you. Now, choking is a harsh word. I know I'm using a harsh word, but really, burnout chokes creativity. There's no other word for it. That is the brutal truth of it. You might think that it is impossible for you to, kind of feel tired, doing what you love. But burnout is fatigue. It is long-term tiredness. And almost everyone who is building a business or juggling a hobby with maybe a full-time job or balancing a family while pursuing a passion, we all go through it at some point of our creative journeys. And that is the truth. I mean, it hits us all, maybe at different times and in different ways, but stress, tiredness, fatigue, and burnout does reach us in one way or the other. And it's so sneaky. Burnout is very sneaky, I think it literally like sneaks in. It just tiptoes and it snaps when it's just too late. At least that's what happened with me, which is why I want to share with you these hidden signs that are lingering, that are there. There are these signs of burnout, So I want to share them with you so that you can identify them and address them before it snaps, before it's too late. And that was definitely a mistake that I made. And it took me over 6 months to recover. And I think I'm still recovering. I'm still not completely past it. It can be that debilitating. So don't take it lightly. All right. But the question is, how does this even happen? Like, how does that smoke even enter into a beautiful, creative world? Well, what happens is that when we are creating something, right, or we are working, we are pumped, we are passionate, and we are driven. So we want to perform better and better. And we continue to push ourselves each and every day in the pursuit of that betterment, right? Now, in that pursuit, sometimes we work too hard. We work long hours, we work late nights, we don't get enough time for our family, we don't get enough sleep, leave alone any fun activities. And even if we take a break, like work is on our minds and it totally dictates our lives. But we are so passionate, right? We are passionate. So we feel, wow, I'm working hard, man. I'm totally nailing this. I'm killing it. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep going. So what, Well, I'm pretty sure that if I work harder, I'm definitely going to get mind blowing results. And what happens is that in the process of continuously pushing ourselves beyond what our body can endure, our mind can take, the wear and tear begins. The body begins to show signs, but hey, we're strong, we're determined. We completely ignore those signs and we just keep going. There is a sort of denial, that we might be feeling tired, but we'll totally deny it. And because we are tired, we don't feel like doing much. We want to stay at home rather than go out. And we want to be alone rather than meet friends. And we even begin to feel a bit irritable. But we still keep going because, hey, we are passionate and strong and determined. And in spite of everything, we just keep pushing and slowly, because we are isolating ourselves, because we're feeling all these things, we also begin to feel a sense of emptiness. All right. Nothing makes us happy. Nothing makes an impact. Nothing means much, really. And we push and we push. And suddenly one day it snaps. We are just not able to move forward at all. Like there's literally so much smoke in the room at that time. You can't work. You can't perform. You just want to run away from it. That, my friend, is burnout. Now, I need to clarify that burnout is not a medical condition, all right? And I think the World Health Organization, it defines it as actually as a phenomena of exhaustion, of cynicism, and of reduced efficiency. So you see, it's both. It's mental and it's physical, Also, like burnout is also defined as the manifestation of chronic unmitigated stress. So now pay attention to those words. Chronic. What does chronic mean? Chronic means long term. What does unmitigated means? Not addressed or identified, which means that we can experience a mild version of burnout or severe version of burnout when we push ourselves too hard for too long and do not recognize the signs that our body and our mind is giving us. I had a pretty severe version of burnout, and I'll tell you what happened. How it struck me when I thought I was totally killing it. I'm nailing it. Yeah, keep going. And boom, snap. I couldn't move forward. Let me just tell you what happened. So I started this podcast, with so much rigor. You know how it's so close to my heart. We're doing one episode a week, which is a huge commitment. I mean, if you look at behind the scenes of a podcast, any podcast, a good podcast, everything that goes into producing one episode alone, you'll see the work. It's literally a full-time job. So basically, I was doing that. Plus, I had my regular commercial work, which is at least 2 shoots a week for clients. And then everything that comes with it, obviously, plus creating content, plus email list, plus, all of that. So it was a lot. But I was determined. I was passionate. I kept going week after week. And by mid of last year, the signs began to emerge. So what did I do? I completely ignored them. I was in extreme denial. In fact, when I felt tired, I just smacked myself and I said, stop it, lazy girl. No pain, no gain. Keep going. If I ever felt sleepy in the middle of the day, I would just wash my face and just go back to work. I mean, I didn't spend much time with my daughter. I was always at my desk. I slept okay. Like I didn't have problems sleeping, but my mind was completely consumed. I had headaches. Nothing cheered me. And slowly I began to feel that I was just dragging myself along. And, the final nail was that by mid-year, when I lost all my motivation to work on the podcast, to photograph, to bring money into the business, to show up on social media, to meet friends, to speak to my family, all I wanted to do was to lie in bed all day. Yeah, I was like, that was it. It was then that it dawned on me that something was wrong. Up until then, I was just like pushing it. I was dragging. I thought, oh man, I'm just tired today. But no, there was something drastically wrong. And it hit me at that time. And I felt depressed, to be honest. I felt this sense of emptiness. And it's not a joke. Like that sense of emptiness, it's real. It's real. And I began to trace my steps back to really see what was going on. Uh, Metaphorically speaking, I entered my room and it was full of smoke. It was full of smoke. The smoke, I had been breathing and working in that smoke for months without realizing. And when I finally saw it, I was already choking. That is such a true description of the way I was and what I felt. And who am I? I'm a creator, I'm a photographer like you. And yet I can feel these things. It's not for another world. Burnout is for the creative world as well. And it hits us hard, man. It hits us hard. So it's been months of work that I've been trying to decongest myself and get rid of that smoke. I mean, I still see bits of it around, but I have to navigate myself and to move it away. But it is that bad. So let's just go right into what you need to be looking for. I've talked about how burnout sets in and some mental and physical signs begin to show up. But let's just very quickly break down what these mental and physical signs are so that it's a bit more clear for all of us. All right. So let's start with the mental or the process or the creativity standpoint. What are we looking for here? So let me just run through, some of the things that you might feel when you are approaching burnout or when you're feeling the stress or when this tiredness is setting in. You feel like no matter how much work you do, it's never enough. You never have time for anything. You're constantly trying to catch up, and yet you are always behind. Everything that you love doing, like creating recipes or taking photos or cooking or working with brands, it's just cumbersome. You just feel tired at the thought of it. The motivation is just not there as it used to be. And when you think that, let me take a break, you feel guilty. You feel guilty when you take a break. You tell yourself you're being lazy, you're weak, and then you compare yourself to other folks and you think, how can they do it and not me? Looks like I don't have it in me. You doubt yourself. But then you keep pushing, you think you are the problem, you blame yourself. You feel like you're stuck in thick mud, you're trying to walk through it, and we all know how tough that is, right? You're angry at everybody, you become highly short-tempered, you are always irritable, small things begin to seem big and they bother you. You're angry at your husband, at your child, at your parents, at your partner, for something or the other. You're always angry. You feel as though no one understands you and you are fighting a battle all alone. You feel defeated as though this life was not meant for you. You just want to escape, hide, or shut down. Ah, well, that is so true. Oh my God, I felt all of those things. Gosh, so this is what the mind goes through. This is how your creativity gets impacted, how your mental state gets impacted. These are signs that begin to show up. But there are physical signs to look out for as well. And the physical signs are actually not just based on what I experienced, but there are several articles that I read online. And one of them was from the New York Times, where scientists and doctors from prestigious institutions like Mayo Clinic, they have offered their research findings. So what does that mean? That means that it is scientifically proven that burnout is not just messing with our minds, but it has a huge impact on our health and physical bodies, really. So the number one sign is actually trouble sleeping or insomnia. I have to say that I never experienced insomnia, but I definitely had trouble waking up. The opposite. I never woke up fresh or I didn't want to wake up at all. I just wanted to continue sleeping and being in bed all day because I was so tired all the time. So the other one is headaches. That is so common. Oh gosh, I had severe headaches for months. And I actually thought that I was having an eye issue because I was spending too much time on the computer. I didn't realize that my headache was actually because of stress and burnout. And I was putting it on, something else. And it turned out to be something else. So clearly watch out for those headaches. They are nasty. All right. The other things that you need to watch out for: nausea, gas, indigestion, stomach ache. Oh gosh, I can't even tell you how much nausea I experienced in those months, The other thing you need to look out for: eating habits. Eating habits are such an indicator, right? Because stress affects our appetite. You either lose appetite or you start eating too much. And I clearly started eating too much. The other impact was on my skin, like breakouts on my skin, pimples, and I don't know, some kind of boils. And I've never had all that stuff on my skin. So I saw, my skin changing and hair. I literally thought that I had grayed overnight. Like I was beginning to gray inside, just overnight. It was slowly, like not slowly, it was rather fast. The other thing is falling sick often. So when you are physically weak, you fall sick often. That's another sign. And just constantly feeling tired, just constantly feeling as though you need rest. I think that's a big one because you're not just mentally drained, but physically, you feel as though you just ran a marathon, which in a way you were running over the past few months, right? So that's the kind of tiredness you feel as if you've run a marathon. So whether you work in a full-time job or photography is your hobby, you are working during the day and using nights and weekends to create content or to book clients so whatever you are doing, in whichever capacity you are creating, professionally or passionately, watch out for these signs, boss. Are you trying too hard? Is it unsustainable? Question yourself. Let's say you're a food blogger and you're working 10-hour days. You're constantly creating recipes. You're trying to come up with content for social media. You're emailing your subscribers and then you're looking out for brands to partner with. Ask yourself, are you overworking yourself? Are you constantly stressed out? I mean, just step back for a moment. No matter where you are in your journey, just step back for a moment and go through these signs that I've just talked about. Your body is giving you all the signals, it's giving you all the hints. And even if you don't experience them in like full swing, there are signs that, if you are there, they will begin to creep up. You just have to pay attention to them. When stress is not addressed for a while, it begins to show up in different ways, physically and mentally. Our bodies, they are equipped to produce certain hormones, stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, etc., to manage short-term stress. But those hormones can only manage short-term stress and power through them for a short term, not on a long term, which is why remember the words chronic and unmitigated. Don't forget those words. All right. So creative burnout does not look pretty. It is something I have experienced and I'm still a bit into it. And when I first shared about it on social media, I was amazed at the number of photographers who reached out to me through the DMs from our own Instagram community, just saying how they had experienced burnout, what they had gone through, and how tough it was for them. And it's just unbelievable how burnout can impact us in such a nasty way, The other thing that I want to talk about is the one misconception that we have about burnout. When I shared about burnout on social media, a lot of folks responded by saying, oh, you need a break. Yes, I needed a break. But let me tell you that taking a break or a few days rest is not the solution to coming out of burnout. That's the first reaction that people have. Oh, you need a holiday, you need a break, boss. But healing a burnout is not about taking a break. It is bigger and actually slightly more complex than that. Yes, you can take a break and come out of it temporarily. But then the last thing you want is for your burnout to return. We don't want the temporary solution here, boss. We want to be able to sustain a creative life without this devil, without this black smoke. Tiredness is one thing. You can take a break, but we definitely want to keep burnout away because not everybody can bounce back from it. It is that brutal. I've gone through those feelings and emotions and the distress that comes with it in the last year, and it was paralyzing. And you know why it happened? It happened because I was in denial. I kept plowing through it. I kept ignoring it. I kept shunning it off, and it only got worse and worse and worse to the point where I couldn't stand up again. So nip it in the bud. Begin to look for smoke in your room. Begin to notice even the smallest sign you get. Don't wait till it gets so out of hand that it almost forces you to quit or to stop. Because the last thing you want to do is give up on something that brings you joy. Burnout is not just only for corporates. It hits creators like equally hard. Okay. So prevent that. take timely action, and move forward in your creative journey in a sustainable and healthy way. Keep that smoke out of your room. All right. If you have questions about this, if you have questions and you're seeing signs about burnout, you want someone you can speak to, I've been there and I'm always there if you need someone to speak to. So send me an email if you would like to share something, share a thought, an experience, something you're feeling, you're not clear about it, anything, just send me an email on hello@myfoodlens.com or just DM me on Instagram. I'm always available on Instagram at Dyutama_myfoodlens. Watch out for those nasty signs, boss, because we definitely don't want to give up on our creativity, right? With that, I'll see you next week with another episode. Bye-bye.